It is me, Pastor Rachel, and I am back this week because I have a story to share with you. Now, this is a story that is actually an embarrassing story, so I hope you are ready for some embarrassment. And it's a story that happened when I was a senior in high school. Now, for those of you who know, seniors in high school are supposed to be like the coolest people ever. Like, you are never more cool than when you are a senior in high school. And an important part of this story is that the year that I was a senior in high school, my sister, Victoria, was a freshman in high school. And even though my sister is awesome, because I was a senior, I was supposed to be cooler than her, right? And so, it's my senior year, and one day I decided that I just wanted to look fresh, okay? I wanted to do something that was fun, so I bought these brand new shoes, and boy, were they so cool. Now, these shoes, they were boots, which was super fun, and they were boots, but the only problem was that even though they looked super cool with my outfit, they were just slightly too big for me. Like, my foot kind of moved around in the shoe a little bit. And they also had heels. Now, I want you to think about if you have ever walked in heels before. It's a lot harder than just normal shoes. And so they looked super cool though, and I was feeling great. And so the whole morning at school, I was strutting down the hallway. I felt so cool, walking back and forth. And then finally, there I am, strutting down the stairs, when all of a sudden, something really embarrassing happened. I fell. And when I say that I fell down the stairs, I don't mean that I did a little trip and said whoops and then got back up and kept going, but I mean that I actually tumbled down the stairs and was laying on the ground at the bottom, and it was so embarrassing. And that's embarrassing enough, right? To tumble down the stairs and be laying on the ground in shock. But the worst part is that when I looked up, there were these two freshman girls, and they did not offer to help me. No, they didn't. But instead, they looked at me, and they looked at each other, and they said, "Isn't that Victoria's sister?" Embarrassing. And they walked away. Oh my goodness, I was so embarrassed. And I hope that if you ever see someone take a tumble down the stairs, you remember to help them up instead of say something sassy. But what I realized is that I was so focused on myself. I was so focused on looking cool, strutting in my new shoes, that I forgot something super important. I forgot to pay attention to each step that was in front of me. And today we are going to hear about a story in our Bibles with someone who did a much better job of taking steps in the right direction than I did. Let's take a look.
can see, I am at Pastor Rachel's house, and I am here with her plants. Now, she left me in charge of them for the week, but she told me the directions on how to keep them alive. But between you and me, I did not listen. So, maybe I'll just try not watering them and see what happens. Oh, Kingdom Kids, I really got myself into a pickle this time. Look at the flowers. They are dead. I killed them. I don't know how. Oh, I should have listened to the directions.
Rusty. He could not follow directions, I think, even if they were taped to his face. But anyway, today we are learning about someone who did a much better job at following directions, even though he wasn't given all of the directions right away. Instead, everything was shown to him and given to him piece by piece, and he decided to just keep going and taking the next step. So you probably remember the past couple weeks we have been talking about Abraham, and we recently learned that Abraham had a son who was a miracle named Isaac. Now, Abraham was old when Isaac was born, and so Abraham was really old when Isaac was ready to get married. But Abraham knew that it was so important for Isaac to marry someone who loves God. That's the most important thing. And Abraham also knew that he and Isaac were living in this land called Canaan, where a lot of people did not love God. And so when it was time for Isaac to get married, Abraham decided to send his servant back to their homeland, where Abraham knew there were many people who loved God. And so Abraham sent his servant to the homeland so that the servant could find a wife for Isaac. Now, when he did this, the servant had so many questions. Where will I find her? Who should she be? What if she's someone who would want to marry Isaac but doesn't want to move all the way to Canaan? He had so many questions. And you know what? He did not get the answer to all of his questions. But he decided to follow the directions step by step. And the next step was for him to go back to their homeland. And so the servant went and he made it there. But what's the next step? And so what did he do? He asked God, God, I know the next step is I need to find this woman who's supposed to marry Isaac, but I don't know who she is. So God, I want you to show me who she is. And let her be someone who offers water not just to me, but to my camels too. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I usually don't go running around offering water to camels, so this was going to be a unique person. But fortunately, there was a woman who did just that. Her name was Rebecca, and the servant was so excited when he found Rebecca, but he didn't know what the next step was. So he prayed about it, and he decided to go meet her family and ask if they think she would want to move to Canaan to marry Isaac. And so he went and he asked her family, and they said, that's great, but you should probably ask Rebecca what she thinks. And so he took the next step and he asked Rebecca what she thinks. And do you see how this whole entire time the servant never knew what was going to happen next, but he just followed the directions step by step by step. And so as he did that, he went and he took the next step and he asked Rebecca, Rebecca, would you want to move and to meet this man named Isaac and to marry him? And Rebecca said yes. And so the servant, his journey was successful, but not because he went on the journey knowing exactly what would happen, all the right things to do, and all of that. But his journey was successful because as each direction was given to him, he listened. He followed God. And in our memory verse today, it says that he watched closely to see if the Lord would make his journey successful. And that is our starting line truth today. God will show us his plan step by step. I want you to say that with me. God will show us his plan step by step. All we have to do is just listen to God and obey him when he gives us directions. And then we can always be sure that we are right in the middle of God's plan. Well, today I have a couple challenges for you. As always, I want you to go and read Genesis chapter 24 and be sure to ask your parents or anyone who's with you questions about it when you don't understand. That is one of the most important parts about reading the Bible, is asking questions. And then I want you to play a game with your friends where you have one person put on a blindfold and then you have another person giving them directions. And I want you to go through an obstacle course or have them try to find something, or basically just do it where the person who's blindfolded has to listen for directions in order to complete the task. I think that will be super, super fun. Well, all right, Kingdom Kids, you are amazing. And I am so excited to see you next week. And hey, don't forget, you can come into the church for our 9 a.m. service, and I will be there. I will be excited to meet you and to see you. And starting September 6th, we will have Kingdom Kids Church again. Woo! It's going to be amazing. So I hope you guys can be there. I'll see you soon.